It's always Porsche time. Here we are for Horse and Hound, take one.
So you've joined us at Paul Stevens in Essex, and we have pizza, tea, a dog called Jasper, and we've got Magnus Walker as well.
So we're here to talk about everything from horses and hounds to horsepower to cups of tea to beard advice.
So I want to go straight in and talk about your book tour.
Okay.
How mad has it been?
It's been crazy. I mean, first of all, I never thought I'd have a book out. You know, that to me was kind of an unreal moment. Happened 2 years ago. Most things happened organically for me. The book was no different. Fast forward 2 years, and June 1st the book's released. Ace Cafe, Monday night, probably 500 people. At least 200 cars. I ended up signing books for 5 hours, and that just sort of kicked off the mayhem. Next day was Waterstones, and then did some press on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday night was Porsche Centre East London. So I did something a little bit different. Instead of doing book signings at bookstores, I thought it would be great for the Porsche community and the car community in general to host the events at Porsche Centre. So for me, it's been a spectacular journey, and to sort of really sweeten the book tour, the book ended up coming in at the top 10 on the weekend London Times bestseller list. It's kind of a punk rock thing because, as you know, it's not like I'm a professional race car driver or rock star. I'm just a Porsche enthusiast like everyone else, but I think my story is relatable on many levels. What I discovered on the book tour is we were inviting everyone out, not just Porsche people. And we had, my theory is if you're a car guy, you're a car guy. It doesn't matter what you drive really, just so long as you're an enthusiastic car driver or collector. And to me, you just pick your poison. My poison's Porsche.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to talk to you about that because obviously I was at Silverstone for the Saturday when we did the on-stage interview, and I noticed it wasn't just Porsche guys per se there and Porsche owners. There was a few youngsters turned up, a few older guys. You mentioned at the London book signing, you had all the London yuppies in the suits come out.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Do you know what I mean? What does that mean to you to have that kind of...
Well, it's a diversity. Like Ace Cafe was great because it's just such an iconic location going back to the 50s. The Tuesday at Leadenhall Market could not have been just so different and diverse. But like I say, if you're a true car guy, true enthusiast, it doesn't matter what you look like, what you sound like, or where you come from. There's a common thread, and that common thread is we all like cars. I think that's a common thread that brings people out to the gatherings. And like I say, we just like to share everything that's car related.
So you've mentioned there's some pretty cool hookups you've done. The Hot Wheels stuff, obviously the UA 52 wheels was really cool. The book thing now, incredible partnerships, the Momo wheel.
Momo wheel.
Obviously you didn't expect this to happen when Urban Outlaw came out, did you?
No, I mean, to tell the story, Urban Outlaw, the 32-minute short documentary film that Canadian film director Timmy Moscovici made, essentially he just made me look good. I rambled on, he edited all the good bits down, but no, neither one of us knew the impact that film would have. For me, it was kind of like, how bad can this be? Initially, it was going to be a 3 to 5 minute short YouTube documentary. That film went on to win several awards for filmmaking and editing. It got into the London Raindance Film Festival, which is the rainy version of Sundance. So there's kind of my life before the film came out and my life after. I don't think I'm any different, but I'm just sort of, I guess, more wildly known.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. But no, none of it was ever scripted or ever planned. My life's always been organic. When people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I have no idea, because 5 years ago, Urban Outlaw came out. I never thought I'd have a book out that ended up being in the top 10 in the first week. The collaborations that you spoke about with Mobile One and Pirelli. Hot Wheels is perhaps my favourite one. I mean, I wrote that letter to Porsche when I was 10 years old, saying I wanted to design cars for Porsche. And now I'm doing cars for Hot Wheels, and they're about to celebrate their 50th anniversary. They asked me if I'd be interested in doing some non-Porsches. So I've actually got a series of non-Porsche cars coming out for Hot Wheels as well. So I think a lot of that, in essence, is being in LA. There's so much opportunity out there on the West Coast, you know, so much diversity. And I'm just fortunate and lucky to be able to take advantage of these opportunities when they come my way.
Honestly, what was the moment when you realised, actually, post Urban Outlaw, probably even when the trailer had come out, where you thought something's happening here that's not scripted, not what I thought?
Well, I should back up and talk about how it actually became Urban Outlaw, because in reality, that's a total 9/11 connection. You guys wrote that article and just called it Urban Outlaw. I'm like, well, that's kind of a cool
I had no idea that we essentially coined that.
You did. So right here, Urban Outlaw was coined by a total 9/11 article.
Magic.
Probably 9 months before the film came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, what a great article. And my Dutch buddy Maurice had done the photos for that. The moment when we thought we were onto something. was the first day when the trailer came out and Top Gear picked it up. And we didn't know how many views that trailer would get. We knew it looked stylish because to me it's great at that type of thing.
Yeah.
And we thought if we got 5,000 that would be great for the first day. Well, I think by 9 a.m. it had 25,000. I think by the end of the day it might have had 50 or 100. So it went viral. I didn't really know what viral meant 5 years ago, but in the past 5 years of my life it's been a whirlwind of travel and opportunity. I mean, these are things that I never thought would happen, but I just tend to say yes more than I say no to opportunities that make sense and seem like they're going to be fun. So to answer your question, I think the defining moment really was Top Gear picking up the Urban Outlaw trailer the first day it came out.
Yeah, okay. And in terms of your kind of Porsche career, but lifetime,
Right.
particularly in the last 5 years, what do you feel are the personal highlights for you of that time?
Sat here on the couch with you today, Lee.
No,
So in essence,
and I'll
has
give
to
you
be-
the money for that straight after the interview.
has to be one of the highlights. No, I suppose the highlights really are the opportunity to drive what I love to call OPP, other people's Porsches. You know, some of the iconic ones, the Ingram's 67R, Hurley Haywood's IMSA winning 70S, Helmut Bott's prototype 959, and then of course all the exotics and Carrera GTs, 918s, and all the other fun stuff are the highlights. But I think ultimately, maybe it's the people and the journey, the adventure, and you know, I often describe my journeys. I'm on this open road, not quite sure where it's going. Specific highlights, I mean, there's been so many. If anything, there's been so much happening so quick, it's hard to absorb and reflect on it.
Okay.
Because you move on to the next thing so quick.
Yeah.
I'll probably think of something really smart once we turn the cameras up. But maybe the opportunity to drive all those cars, and I guess probably within 2 months of Urban Outlaw coming out, I did receive another letter from Porsche, basically saying how they'd seen the film, they'd heard about me riding to Porsche when I was 10 years old. At that time I was 45, so it was like 35 years later. And interestingly, in the film, Tamir asked me, he said, what do you think Porsche would think about the cars you built? And I think I said something like, I hope they'd be smiling. And they obviously picked up on that. So I think they realized I have something you can't manufacture, that's passion. So perhaps one of the most memorable moments was getting a letter from Porsche inviting me to tour the museum, and I actually ended up going there for the very first time on 9/11, ironically, 2013. So that was perhaps one of the most memorable moments after Urban Outlaw, because that really began my, let's call it, strange relationship with Porsche, where I've done filming with Porsche GB, done events with Porsche Cars North America, done lots of stuff with Porsche Classic and Porsche Exclusive, Porsche Australia for their Run Sport reunion. So I think the opportunity to do something with the brand Porsche that I love in some sort of official capacity is just really one of the most special things, because I never ever thought that would happen. You know, 5 years ago, if you'd sat down and said, okay, which one of these two people is going to be doing something with Porsche, judged on the way I look, you probably would not have picked me. But I think timing's everything. I think part of the momentum that kept going was the film came out right when the 50th anniversary of the 9/11 was happening. Every magazine, as you know, was writing about the 9/11. You guys put the STR on the cover of the 100th anniversary issue. The car ended up being on the cover of Road and Track. So I think my story just resonated with people in a slightly different way. Familiar story, but just a little
A
different
bit more
twist.
offbeat to what is usual for Porsche, I think.
Yeah, you know, I'm not your typical Porsche-looking person, and I think in reality that story just continues to evolve, because I think you realise that there is no such thing as a typical Porsche-looking person. You know, it's the people that make the memorable moments behind the wheel. Otherwise, that car, as great as it is, just sits there stationary and doesn't get driven.
Of course, yeah.
So without the people, it's like sometimes people come up to me and say, hey, I want to show you my car, it's only got 500 miles on it. I have no interest in that. But show me a car with 500,000 miles on it, there's lots of stories, right?
Absolutely.
So those are memorable moments right there.
Yeah.
So I think the film brought me an opportunity to really travel and be open to exposure with other people.